You're sitting at a red light. You glance to your left. Brand new BMW. Leather seats, tinted windows, the whole package. The driver looks sharp, looks successful. You look down at your steering wheel. It's a 2014 Honda Civic with a coffee stain on the passenger seat and a check engine light that's been on so long it feels like a feature. And for a split second, you feel it. That little sting. That voice in your head that whispers, I should be doing better than this. If you could peek into both bank accounts right now, the person in the Civic has 6 times the net worth of the person in the BMW. 6 times. Same neighborhood, similar income. Exposed to the exact same opportunities. But one of them is quietly building a fortune, and the other is bleeding money every single month without even realizing it. My name is Finn, and I spend way too much time obsessing over the math behind money. If you're the kind of person who suspects the system is rigged against you but can't quite figure out how, make sure to subscribe. Because today, I'm going to show you the exact math that the auto industry, the banks, and your own brain are desperately hoping you never sit down and calculate. I call this the depreciation drain. And once you understand it, you will never look at a car the same way again. This isn't about being cheap. This isn't about shaming anyone for wanting a nice vehicle. This is about a mathematical trap so devastating that it single-handedly explains why millions of people who earn good money will retire with almost nothing. The auto lending industry is a $2 trillion machine. 2 trillion. And it runs on one simple fuel, your monthly payment. Car dealerships, banks, and insurance companies have built an entire empire around one psychological trick, convincing you that you don't buy a car. You buy a monthly payment, and as long as that payment feels manageable, you never bother to calculate the true cost. The system relies on you being too excited about that new car smell to sit down with a calculator. And trust me, there is a very good reason they don't want you doing this math. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why someone earning $70,000 a year can end up with less wealth than someone earning $40,000. And the answer is sitting in your driveway right now. Here's where this story actually begins. In 1919, General Motors had a problem. Cars were expensive. Really expensive. Most Americans couldn't afford to pay for one up front. So a man named John J. Raskob, the financial genius behind GM, created something revolutionary, GMAC, General Motors Acceptance Corporation, the first major auto lending company. The pitch was simple. You don't need to save up for a car anymore. Just pay a little bit every month. It sounded like freedom. It felt like progress. But what Raskob actually invented was a system to make people comfortable with permanent debt. Before GMAC, if you couldn't afford a car, you saved until you could. After GMAC, if you couldn't afford a car, you just signed a longer loan. And this worked so well that by 1925, 3 out of every 4 cars in America were bought on credit, not because people suddenly got richer, but because the monthly payment made them feel richer. Fast forward to today, and a study by Experian in 2024 found that the average new car loan in America is now 72 months, 6 years, with an average monthly payment of $734. And used cars aren't much better at $525 per month. But here's the number nobody talks about. Exposed by research from AAA in 2023, the true cost of owning a new car, including the loan payment, insurance, gas, maintenance, registration, is $12,182 per year. That's over $1,000 every single month just to have a car sitting in your driveway. A study published by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York found something even more disturbing. American households collectively owe $1.63 trillion in auto debt. That's more than total credit card debt was just 5 years ago. And the delinquency rates on auto loans have been climbing every single quarter. People are literally drowning in car payments they took out to look successful. But it gets worse. Thomas Stanley spent 20 years studying millionaires for his landmark book, The Millionaire Next Door. He surveyed over 500 people with a net worth of $1 million or more, and what he found destroyed every assumption about wealth. The most common car driven by millionaires in his study was a Toyota, not a Mercedes, not a BMW. Toyota. Over 37% of them bought used, and the average price they paid for their most recent car was just $31,367. The people who actually have money don't spend it on cars. The people who look like they have money are usually the ones drowning in payments. Now let's do the math that changes everything. And I mean real math. Line by line, dollar by dollar. Meet two people. Both earn $70,000 a year. Same city, same cost of living. The only difference is what's parked in their driveway. Person A, let's call them the upgrader, buys a brand new $45,000 SUV. They put $2,000 down and finance the rest at 6.9% for 72 months. Here's their monthly car cost breakdown. $43,000 loan at 6.9% over 72 months equals $733 per month. Insurance on a brand new SUV runs about $210 per month. Gas at roughly 15,000 miles a year costs about $230 per month. Maintenance and tires average out to about $85 per month. Total monthly cost, $1,258. That's $15,096 per year, just on the car. Now, person B, let's call them the calculator. They buy a reliable, well-maintained 2017 Honda Accord for $12,000. Cash, no monthly loan payment, zero. Insurance on a used sedan runs about $120 per month. Gas costs about $190 per month. Maintenance on a well-chosen used car averages about $110 per month. Total monthly cost, $420. That's $5,040 per year. The difference between them is $10,056 per year. Now you might be thinking, okay, 10 grand is a lot, but it's not life-changing. Stay with me for 60 seconds, because this is where the depreciation drain earns its name. That new $45,000 SUV? According to data from IC Cars, the average new car loses 49.6% of its value in the first 5 years. Almost half. That SUV is worth roughly $22,680 after 5 years. The upgrader paid over $53,000 total, including interest, for something now worth $22,000. But we're not done yet. Here's what happens if the calculator takes that $10,056 annual difference and invests it in a simple index fund averaging 10% per year. After 5 years, they have $67,831. After 10 years, $176,412. After 20 years, $637,521. After 30 years, $1,863,447. Let me say that again. The difference between person A and person B, who earn the exact same income, is nearly $1.9 million. Not because one of them is smarter, not because one got lucky, but because one of them drove a used Honda and the other one financed a new SUV to feel successful. I am not finished. The upgrader doesn't just buy one new car. Research from IHS Markit shows the average American buys a new car every 6.6 years. So the upgrader is repeating this cycle over and over. New loan, new depreciation, new insurance hike. Every single time. Over a 40-year career, the upgrader will spend approximately $603,840 on vehicles, including loan interest, insurance premiums, and the depreciation loss. 600 grand on things that lose value the moment you drive them off the lot. The calculator? They'll spend about $200 and $1,600 over the same 40 years, still driving reliable, comfortable cars, still getting from point A to point B, but keeping over $400,000 that the upgrader literally burned. And here's where it gets really interesting. Now you might be thinking, but I need a reliable car. Used cars break down. I hear you. And I'd be lying if I said that concern wasn't valid 20 years ago. But the data today tells a completely different story. A 2023 study by Consumer Reports tracked the reliability of over 300,000 vehicles. They found that the most reliable cars on the road were consistently 3 to 5 years old, not brand new, not fresh off the lot. Cars that were a few years old but had their initial issues resolved by the original owner or through recalls. A 3-year-old Toyota Camry or Honda Civic is statistically more reliable than most brand new cars from other manufacturers. The upgrade cycle isn't about reliability. It's about identity. It's about the story you've been told since childhood, that your car is your success, that people judge you by what you drive. And the auto industry spends over $35 billion a year on advertising to keep that story alive in your head. But it gets worse. There's a hidden cost nobody accounts for. I call it the lifestyle anchor effect. When you buy an expensive car, it doesn't just drain your bank account directly. It upgrades your entire identity. You park a $50,000 car in your driveway, and suddenly your 10-year-old couch feels wrong. Your wardrobe doesn't match. Your vacation has to be at least as impressive as your car. One purchase quietly raises the floor on everything else you spend money on. This is why researchers at the University of Warwick found that inflated lifestyle spending, not low income, was the #1 predictor of financial stress in middle-class households. It's not what you earn. It's the invisible standard your biggest purchase sets for everything else. Here's what this actually means for your life. Right now, today, if you're making a car payment of $700 per month, that's not just $700. That's $700 after tax, which means you need to earn roughly $930 before tax to cover it. At an average hourly wage, that's about 58 hours of work per month. Almost a third of your working hours, before you even pay rent, buy groceries, or save a single dollar, goes straight to a machine that is losing value while you sleep. Let me put it differently. If your car payment is $700 per month and you invest that same amount instead, for 30 years at 10% average annual return, you'd have $1,527,000. Your car payment isn't costing you $700 a month. It's costing you $1.5 million over your career. Think about that next time you're stuck in traffic in that brand new car. You're not driving to work, you're working to drive. And here's the part that should genuinely make you angry. The banks know this. The dealerships know this. The entire auto industry knowingly engineers the buying experience to bypass your logical brain and target your emotions. The test drive isn't about checking the car. It's about making you feel the car. The what monthly payment works for you question isn't about finding you the best deal. It's about stretching your loan term so far that the total cost becomes invisible. They're not selling you transportation. They're selling you a feeling. And that feeling costs about $400,000 over your lifetime. So what do you actually do with this information? Here are 5 concrete steps. Starting this week. Step 1. This weekend, calculate your true car cost. Not just the payment. Add insurance, gas, maintenance, registration, and the depreciation you're absorbing. Write that number down. For most people, it's between $800 and $1,500 per month. Seeing your real number is the first step to breaking the cycle. Step 2. This month, run the Millionaire math. Take your total monthly car cost, subtract what you'd pay for a reliable used car, roughly $300 to $400 per month. Multiply that difference by 12. Then plug it into a compound interest calculator at 10% for 30 years. That number on the screen is what your current car is genuinely costing you. Step 3. If you have an active car loan, call your lender this week and ask about refinancing options. Even dropping 1% on your interest rate on a $35,000 loan saves you roughly $1,100 over the remaining term. That's free money sitting on the table. Step 4. Next time you need a car, apply the 3-year rule. Buy a vehicle that is 2 to 4 years old with 30 to 50,000 miles. Let someone else absorb the 40 to 50% depreciation hit. You get a nearly new car for almost half the price. Step 5. This quarter, automate the difference. Whatever you save by switching to a lower car cost, set up an automatic monthly transfer into an index fund. Don't think about it, don't touch it. Let it compound. In 10 years, you'll have a down payment on a house. In 20 years, you'll have a retirement fund. In 30 years, you'll have generational wealth. All from the money that used to evaporate in your driveway. Remember that red light? You, the Civic, the BMW next to you? Here's how that story actually ends. 20 years from now, the BMW driver is 62 years old, still making car payments, still worried about retirement, still wondering why a good salary never turned into real wealth. You're sitting on a paid-off house, a 7-figure investment portfolio, and a reliable car you bought with cash. Not because you earned more, not because you got lucky, but because one day you sat down and did the math that nobody wanted you to do. The depreciation drain is invisible. It's silent. And it is the single biggest wealth destroyer hiding in plain sight in middle-class America. But now you see it. And what you do next is entirely up to you. If this video made you rethink what's parked in your driveway, subscribe. Not because I asked, but because understanding money isn't about earning more. It's about seeing the traps before you walk into them. And there are a lot more traps to expose.